You want to know how I invest, do you? You want to know? You actually want to know? I'll break it down for you. You actually want to know how I invest? My name is Luke Del Priore. I became a millionaire at the age of 19 years old, and today I am breaking down how I did it. More importantly, how I actually save and invest my money so that my money works for me whilst I do this, whilst I sleep, whilst I do nothing, whilst you work. All right, this is how my money works for me. I'm gonna break it down for you. Fair enough? Guys, first and foremost, the primary asset that I own is a marketing agency, okay? If you don't know about our marketing agency, Google Del Priore Hospitality. My brother and I own a marketing company. We work with some of the biggest names in hospitality, and we help them generate more bookings, okay? So here's the deal. Our business is what generates income, okay? It's what generates cash. Off of that income, obviously, with any revenue that a business has, you have expenses. So I need to pay my staff, I need to pay software fees, I need to pay for my accountant, I need to pay for my advertising, I need to pay for sales commissions, I need to pay for contractors overseas. There's so many different fees that I need to pay. So the number one investment that I have is constantly reinvesting back into my business. That's the first thing that I practice. That's what I preach. This is the thing that's generating all the revenue. So I just keep reinvesting more and more money back into my business so that I can increase what we call the top line revenue. This number right here, $200,000 right now, is our top line revenue roughly. And then off that $200,000, after I pay my software fees, my accounting, my advertising, my sales training, my sales commissions, I'm left with about $120,000 a month in profit after covering all my fees, okay? So that's roughly $4,000 a day. Some months we do a little better, some months we do a little bit worse, but this is right around what we actually profit. So that's the first asset that I own. It's the marketing agency. This is where I spend most of the hours in my week, okay? So from a time investment perspective, this costs me at least 40 hours a week of active work, okay? So what most of you guys probably work in the whole week is just what I put into the marketing agency, all right? Now, that's our primary asset. That's what generates this $120,000 in profit. After that $120,000 in profit is generated, I need to get the money out of my business bank account because all this money is generated in my business bank account, and then I have a personal bank account. So what do? I take a salary as the owner of the business and as an employee of the business, and so does my brother, okay? So on this $120,000 that is generated in the month, I might take out $30,000 as a salary for myself, and my brother will take out another $30,000 as a salary for himself, okay? With that money, we then cover basic living expenses. So let's say we need to pay for clothes, like I want a new shirt, or food, or a car payment, or an apartment, whatever it may be that you guys need to pay. That'll come out of your personal, but this is the point where it comes out of my personal bank account, okay? So my car payment comes out of my personal bank account. If I need to buy a new water cooler, something that can't be written off in my business, that's where it then gets trickled down into my personal expenses. So that's number two. I cover any of my personal expenses, okay? Now, the money is in our personal bank account now, okay, which is separate from our business bank account like I just explained. So we take the money, okay, let's say $200,000 in a month is generated through the business. Out of my business bank account, I will pay the sales commission, I will pay my employees, I pay my software fees, I pay all those fees, and then I reinvest back into my business if I need to. When I say I reinvest, if I need to get a new employee, I see that as an investment. A new piece of software, that's an investment, okay, so on and so forth. Then we figure out what our profit is that month. Let's say it's $120,000. Off the profit, we then take a salary. So I will take out of that $120,000, $30,000 out of that business bank account, move it to my personal, and another $30,000 out of that business bank account and move it into my brother's personal account. Now we have our personal money. That's where we cover any personal expenses, okay? And again, the money comes from out of the business bank account into the personal bank account. Simple, simple, simple. Now, this is where the real investments start outside of the business. The first primary thing that I invest in is the video that you're watching right now. Personal brand, baby. That's the first investment that I make. Shooting content, I have a videographer. Editing content, I have an editing team. Posting content, I have a social media manager. Making sure the content is performing, I have a performance marketing team, so on and so forth. We are investing dollars and cash into building a large-scale personal brand so that more people know about who I am. Now, why am I doing that and why do I see that as an investment? Well, I'll tell you why. This is an asset that we call an attention-generating asset. This is a very long-term investment. And you'll see with all the investments that I take in the future, they're all very long-term investments. I'm not a short-term thinker, not a day trader, not my game, okay? I'm a very long-term investor. I'm investing right now about $6,000 a month into content for it to be shot, edited, posted, and managed for me. Why? Because you only have so many hours in a week. If it was up to me to shoot 8 to 10 YouTube videos a month, edit them all, post them all, I couldn't do it all myself. You need a team for that. And if you want a team, you need money. So that's the first thing that we invest in. Now, why am I investing into content? Well, think of guys like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Think of guys like Conor McGregor. Think of guys like Andrew Tate. Think of any of these guys that you're watching this video. Here's the deal. The only reason that they can launch businesses overnight, like let's say Terramana or Proper 12 or whatever the business is, and make them worth hundreds of millions, $1 billion, or they can get paid for an endorsement or an advertisement, is due to their personal brand. People know them, they like them, and they trust them. That is not something you can even calculate an ROI on, okay? I might lose money on that $6,000 a month, but I might make a 500% return, a 5,000% return. There is no way to even calculate the ROI on that down to a science. There's no way you could do it. Why? Because the opportunities can be endless. I can start a business on the back end of my personal brand in the future, which will cash flow me money. I can curate a brand deal, which will generate me money through my personal brand. I can meet another business owner that I network with who I launch a company with. I can hire another salesperson. So many benefits to having a personal brand. So I invest money here, I invest time here. Why? Because this is a long-term asset and investment that I see on a massive bullish trend. So that's something that I do, and I invest a lot of money here. That's the first thing that I invest into. That's the most important thing that I invest into. The second thing I invest into is cryptocurrencies. Now guys, I'm not gonna go too deep into the crypto that I buy specifically. I put a couple on the screen. Bitcoin is the primary cryptocurrency that I buy. It's a store of value. It's deflationary. There's a finite amount of it. I'm not gonna go into more detail. Bitcoin is the way of the future. We will see $1 million Bitcoin. Will I give you a date? I will not do that, but I will tell you that at some point in the near future, within the next 10 to 15 years, I'm looking at $1 million Bitcoin, which means that you're gonna be generating 80 to 100% returns on your money, even if you're buying it at $100,000. So do I think Bitcoin's a good investment? I think it's more than a good investment. I think it's the best investment you can make right now. Outside of that, for higher returns with a little bit more risk, I'm buying things like Solana, Ripple, Chainlink, so on and so forth. EOS Network, Echelon. There's so many different currencies that I'm buying, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna go into depth because I don't want you guys buying the shit that I buy, not knowing when to sell, how I know when to sell, losing a bunch of money. Luke told me to buy this, not gonna do that, okay? All I'm saying is that I truly believe that cryptocurrencies are going to be the way of the future, and I purchase tons and tons of crypto. I personally invest through my personal investment accounts between $20,000 and $30,000 a month for my brother and myself just into cryptocurrency, with mainly 80% of that going into Bitcoin, 20% of everything else going into other currencies. And the reason I do that is because even if I lose on the other coins I buy, the returns I'll get on the Bitcoin will hedge that. So here's the deal. Can I really lose? Probably not. So that's something that I practice. I invest a bunch of money into cryptocurrency. Here's the way I do it. I purchase on a brokerage account with Robinhood or with Crypto.com or Kraken, and then I will just take that money that I've invested and I will move it over into cold storage. I have a cold storage wallet. That's where I leave all my crypto, okay? So outside of personal brand, that's the second investment that I will make into cryptocurrency. Third investment that I'm making is into the stock market, okay? Again, I'm not gonna go into specific companies, but a couple of them that I buy, Palantir, NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, the list goes on and on and on. I'm primarily investing into AI and tech. Why? Because we're in a boom right now. Artificial intelligence technology are going to be bigger than you've ever seen previously before. Why? Because this is the way of the future. We're dealing with electric cars, we're dealing with solar. As we see trends, we have to try to ride the trend and ride the wave. So if I can invest in businesses that are catching those trends, I can make money just the way that the business does. So what I do is I invest a ton of money into solo stocks, because singular stocks, if you know how to pick the right ones, will have significantly higher returns than what you can buy, for example, through a mutual fund or the S&P 500. However, with that being said, I'm not a jackass. I understand that I'm not perfect. I understand that I'm not the smartest guy in the room. So what I do to practice safety is I invest a small amount of money every single month into the S&P 500 just so that I know I have a safety net in there. I put about $5,000 a month into the S&P 500. And for me, that's a very small fractional portion of my income, but I put that money there just so that I know historically I'll get about 10% a year. So even if everything goes bad, after me investing $5,000 a month every month for 2 years into the S&P, I'll have $120,000 in the S&P 500. That is better than a high yield savings account. You're gonna get a higher return, and then I can pretty much liquidate in an instant, okay? So I put money into the S&P, but primarily, again, I'm buying high-tech AI stocks. Now guys, I wanna stop for a second before I go into my final investment. You will notice a lot of the things that I'm showing you will be considered risky. This is not the traditional financial advice, go get a W-2 job, then put the money into a 401k. You're not gonna see any of that. Why? Because I'm a 20-year-old man. I've also become a millionaire at a young age because I understood that the traditional financial advice that you could get is probably not going to be the one that's going to get you an Aston Martin at 19 years old. And that's why you don't see any other people with Astons at 19 years old, or luxury apartments, or a $30,000 watch, or any of the things that I have. You don't see it because it's untraditional. So I kind of built my own formula to earn and to invest because I saw some young guys making absolutely astonishing returns, and I'm thinking to myself, what the heck are they doing that I'm not getting elsewhere? So you're not gonna see the traditional Dave Ramsey advice, you're not gonna see the real estate investing advice, go out and get yourself a unit. You're not gonna see any of that. You're gonna see high risk, high reward plays. That's how I play, and that's just how I invest. Why? Because I generate the highest return that way, and I can stomach the risk, and I'm willing to lose the money. Why? Because I have a fucking business that generates $120,000 a month in profit. So and this number consistently grows every single month. So do I really give a shit if I lose 20 grand in a month on some crypto that I bought? I don't care. The next month I'm gonna see a bag of another $120,000, so it does not matter. I can risk through some safer investments that I take, but I'm willing to tolerate big risk because I want a big reward. That's just how I am, okay? So that's how I invest, and that's a principle that I've applied to my business too. That's why we scaled a multi-million-dollar business in a year and a half. You don't do that without playing high risk, high reward, let's go out, let's make this shit happen. You don't get there. That's why we're here. Now, final thing that I put money into, okay? Not really putting money anywhere, is just cash for opportunity. This is kind of like just a little bit of money that I leave in our business account or in our personal accounts so that if an opportunity pops up, let's say someone tells me, hey Luke, I need a loan of XYZ amount of dollars. I'll give you guaranteed return after 6 months or a guaranteed return after a month. And this is what it's gonna be. We could work out a quick contract, we could do a loan, get that money instantly. It's just opportunity. For example, if I have a friend that wants to start a marketing agency and they tell me I have no money to get coached by you, but I really want you to help. If I think that person's hungry, maybe I'll put a little bit of cash into his business, I'll fund his business, and then after I fund his business, I can get a piece of equity in his business. And again, you can't do that if you don't have cash on hand. So I don't just leave it as cash. If there's no opportunity for it, I'll then just reinvest it into any of the assets that I buy. I call it opportunity cash, okay? Opportunity cash. It's cash that is sitting there waiting to be invested. Because again, one thing you'll learn about me is that as I make money, I spend it right away, buying different assets, better assets, and having stagnant cash, because cash is losing more and more money every day, every week, every month, every year. You're losing spending power with the cash that you have. With Bitcoin, you're gaining it. So the benefit of the things that I buy is you get a higher return without really needing to do much. And if you look at the assets that I buy, they're all relatively passively managed. So if you take a look at the stocks that I buy, they're long-term investments. Even the crypto that I buy, relatively long-term investments. I don't need to open up my phone every day and look at my accounts, which I could show you a couple of right now. Because I take heat, you can see one of my stock accounts. I have a small account here with Robinhood, right? Close to $200,000 in this account. That's primarily just stocks, but so on and so forth. I could show you one of my opportunity cash accounts so you understand what I mean here. Sometimes I leave cash sitting. I can use that money to invest in the future if need be, so on and so forth. But you guys understand, I spend my money. The reason I keep making it is because I keep fucking spending it. So guys, that's my investment order. That is how I invest my money as an entrepreneur. Very simple. It's really not that hard to do. The hardest thing to do outside of investing is earning. You need to figure out how the hell you're going to earn the kind of money that you want to make so that you can invest and make money while you sleep. And if you don't know how to do that, I think you may have just found the right channel. But who knows? I'll leave that one there. You wanted to come here to learn how to invest. That's what I gave you. Now take that advice and go work.